There's nothing on here. And there's no what's the name? There's no
David, 3, 2.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Shalom. I'm David Menser from the National Public Diplomacy Directorate here in the Prime Minister's office in Jerusalem. This Wednesday, 15th of April, 2026. I'll be taking a few questions from you just after a couple of brief points to share. Please put your questions in the chat, as usual, of this Zoom, together with your name and outlet, and we'll take your questions. Firstly, to the historic dialogue which has begun between the State of Israel and Lebanon, a historic door has just opened. The Prime Minister has created this portal. For the first time since 1993, Israel and Lebanon have entered a US-mediated dialogue. We are extremely grateful to President Trump and his administration. Yesterday in Washington, senior representatives from Israel, Lebanon, and the United States sat down together. That alone signals a real shift. The Prime Minister brought this development to the Cabinet just last week after a significantly weakened Hezbollah. Israel responded positively to a request from the Lebanese government to move forward. Now, the objective is extremely straightforward. It is to disarm Hezbollah, to dismantle terror infrastructure and create the conditions for lasting peace between Israel and Lebanon. Now, for both Israel and Lebanon, these direct negotiations are to resolve outstanding issues, of course, because security, stability, and prosperity cannot coexist with an armed terrorist force dominating a sovereign state. There is no ceasefire discussion with Hezbollah, a terrorist organization that continues to fire indiscriminately at Israeli civilians is not a partner for diplomacy. Indeed, it is the central obstacle to it. Now, this is indeed a genuine historic opportunity to end decades of Hezbollah stranglehold over Lebanon, decades in which it has attacked Israel and inflicted immense damage on Israel, but also, especially, on the Lebanese people. It should go without saying, but the Lebanese people are, of course, not Israel's enemy. They're the victims of Hezbollah and the Iranian regime that arms, funds, and directs it. And the vision is simple. Not Hezbollah rockets crossing our borders, but people crossing borders. As our representative, Ambassador Leiter, said just yesterday, the only reason to cross into each other's territory will be either in business suits to conduct business or in bathing suits to go on vacation, and ultimately liberating Lebanon from an occupational power dominated by Iran called Hezbollah. Now, that future begins with one step that will benefit the entire world, of course, removing Hezbollah's weapons and ending Iran's proxy grip on Lebanon. Just this morning, Hezbollah fired 40 rockets into northern Israel, at homes, at villages, at Jews, at Christians, at Druze, at Muslims, all of them here in Israel. Indiscriminate fire at civilians. Now, this fact is almost never or very rarely reported in the international media. Indeed, there have been thousands of rocket and drone attacks on Israel. Hezbollah terrorists chose to enter the campaign and open fire at Israel, and it is paying and will continue to pay a heavy price for doing just that. With each passing day, Hezbollah is more deeply damaged, and if we've learned one thing from October the 7th, as the Prime Minister has said, the October 7th atrocities, from these atrocities, Israel will not allow a genocidal terrorist organization anywhere near our border. For that reason, we are implementing that lesson right now as we speak. Now, since February this year, I can share with you that Israel has eliminated over 1,600 Hezbollah terrorists. The IDF is pursuing Hezbollah, targeting their commanders, their operatives, their headquarters, their weapons depots, their launchers, and their terror infrastructure, including towers in Dehya. And the IDF have shared details that in the last 24 hours of operations, they have provided further defence for our northern communities, targeting terrorist headquarters and weapons, as I've said, including anti-tank positions. So that's the end of our briefing here today. I will now take your questions. Please put your questions in the chat, and I will take your questions. I can see one question here, firstly from Reuters, and that what was agreed in the Tuesday meeting with Lebanon, and so it's from Alexander Cornwell at Reuters. What is agreed in the Tuesday meeting with Lebanon, and when will the next meeting take place, and who will represent Israel in that meeting? Thank you very much for that question, Alexander. As you rightly said, that meeting took place yesterday. Israel and our ambassador Leiter made clear what the outcomes have been. He released a statement and spoke to the media. I would refer you to that. The next discussions will take place. They will be, of course, brokered by the State Department and Marco Rubio. We do again show our thanks to President Trump and his administration for brokering these discussions. And when we have more information about their location and who will represent Israel, we will share that with you at the right time. But right now I haven't got anything further to share with you on these discussions, which are being led very ably by our US ambassador to the US, Ambassador Yechiel Leiter. Okay, next question here is from BBC News. Do you have any timeline when there might be another meeting with Lebanon, and will that also be at ambassadorial level? Thank you for that question from the BBC. I think I answered it in the last answer. When we have further details for the next phase of the discussions, we will certainly share that. But as I mentioned to you, they are our representative, Ambassador Yechiel Leiter, is leading those discussions on behalf of the State of Israel, and he gave further details and when he came out of those discussions just yesterday. And another question here, also from the BBC. Separately, would you be in favour of extending the current US ceasefire beyond the 22nd of April? Look, on the ceasefire, the Prime Minister made clear our support for the ceasefire. He stated that on Monday. He said very, very clearly that Israel supports President Trump's decision to suspend strikes against Iran for 2 weeks, and, of course, for the efforts to ensure that Iran no longer possesses nuclear ability to fire a nuclear bomb at us, to create nuclear weapons, but also their missile and their terrorist capability, which is, of course, a threat to this country, but it is, of course, a threat to the civilized world as well, the United States, Israel, and all of the countries of this region. I would simply ask you to imagine what Iran with a nuclear capability would do, having seen what it has done over the past, since February the 28th, having seen the havoc which they have imposed on the countries around this region, not just on Israel, but on the UAE and other countries in our region. Their indiscriminate rocket fire, their ballistic missile rocket fire, the fact that they can reach 4,000 kilometres, which means Diego Garcia, and almost all of Europe. So I won't share our negotiations tactics live on air with you right now, but you can well understand that Israel and the US are extremely closely aligned. Our Prime Minister and President Trump and other aspects of the administration and our militaries are in extremely close alignment, and if we have something to share with you on that, we will certainly do so. Next question here is from EFE, from the Spanish news agency. The previous ceasefire in Lebanon also implied the disarmament of Hezbollah and gave the Lebanese government a role in this. How is Israel approaching these conversations in order to reach that disarmament if the previous approach failed? Thank you very much for that question. Look, you're right. In 2024, in November 2024, there was a ceasefire agreement. There was a commitment by the Lebanese government to disarm Hezbollah, whether through an absence of will or an absence of ability. That did not take place. But yesterday, I think something very important happened. And Ambassador Leiter said on behalf of Israel that the state of Israel and the government of Lebanon are on the same side now. And on the other side are Hezbollah. Now, again, I won't be taking forward our strategy. I won't be discussing the aspects of our strategy. But the disarmament of Hezbollah is absolutely key to peace in our region. They are hated by 70% of the Lebanese population. That was made clear by the Lebanese government yesterday. They are not representing, they're not defending Lebanon in any way, shape or form. They are the forward army of the Iranian regime, which in turn are also hated by more than 80% of their population, of the Iranian population. So this is a terrorist organization. I think international media would do well to label them precisely what they are. That's what terrorists do. They fire indiscriminately at civilians. That is the definition of terrorism. So I won't be sharing with you the details of what will happen next, but I think that what has changed is that Lebanon and Israel are on the same side of the equation. The other side of the equation is a terrorist army which is severely weak, which has been severely weakened by Israel, and it just takes forward President Trump and Prime Minister Netanyahu's idea that the way to achieve peace is through strength. The reason why we have got to these historic discussions is because Iran has been weakened, because Hezbollah have been weakened. Okay, that is the last question we've got here today. So thank you for joining us. Shosh will be back for the next briefing, and we'll let you know when that is going to be. In the meantime, we are available for your questions as well as for interview requests as well. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time. Please do stay safe. Thank you. Bye-bye.